iZombie Season 5, Episode 6, The Scratchmaker. So this episode, of course, is the aftermath of all the chaos, mostly for Blaine. It was, Blaine's story episode, which I really enjoyed. Stacy Boss was not the zombie at the end. He was going around the world. I mentioned in my last review, I was like, I never remember what the F they do with that character. I thought he was dead, and then when they did the zombie thing, which I don't know, maybe that was just meant to be a random zombie, I guess. But they mentioned, he was traveling the world and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's Stacy Boss, so I guess they didn't need to put a story reason in there for like how'd you get back in the city and stuff. The same way Blaine always got brains. Like, he was just a dude who has a buttload of money. He does illegal things. He found his way back in. So I was like, all right, they don't need to actually explain that, and that's totally fine by me because we know his established character. He made it back into the town before we saw that play out. But it was interesting. It was cool to see him come back. It was very interesting to see Don.E upset. They also say his last name, which I thought was really funny because that woman was mad at him, and I was like, oh, that's his last name. I wish I could remember. I watched it like hours ago, and I'm like just not doing the review. I was like, okay, so Don.E is kind of separating himself, he's totally separating himself from Blaine, and I like that idea. I thought it was really entertaining to see them do that where, they'd gotten to a point where things kind of worked out. Like, it was okay. Like, Donnie wanted a little bit more, but at the same time, they'd gotten to a point where they were cool. They were kind of comfortable. Like, of course, Blaine was the one kind of really living the high life. Like, we don't know where Don.E actually lives, which may or may not be his mom's house. I doubt he was living there as well. That was just where he helped hide Blaine. But it was like, okay, we don't know what Donnie really gets out of this. And they kind of talk about that. And that's kind of been the point of his character, is that he's always been, if you think about it, he's Blaine's backbone. Like, he's the dude that's always there helping him out. And then there was the guy that was kind of there at the bar. He always seemed to be kind of screwing up anyway, but he's dead now. And Blaine was super pissed, and he kills the dude. And I'm sure somebody's gonna end up finding those vials, by the way. But because I was like, he threw him off the bridge. Like, they fell in the water. I was like, well, if they fall in the water inside of a city that's walled off, they're gonna wash up on shore, or something's gonna happen where it's like, oh, there's a dead body in the water. We gotta, drag the lake or something, and they're gonna find those vials. So those are gonna come back. They have to. That just makes sense. But it was like, okay, he's super pissed, and that was like that final moment for Donnie, where it's like, I can't betray Blaine as much as I want the extra money. I'm not gonna do that. And then Blaine was super effing pissed, and he even asked Donnie for like the 10 grand and stuff like that. So kills the dude because he made a mistake, which it was a huge mistake, but still, kills the dude. Says it's Donnie's fault, and Donnie's just like, all right, that's it. That's like the final straw. And so he teams up with Stacy Boss. They go through the whole process of being like, all right, here's the new deal that we have. They talk with Major. He ends up going to the guy who's basically like Jim Bezos, I guess, Amazon, the dude who owns Amazon. And it's like, all right, this is how we can. They also don't explain that. That was, unless I missed it, that was another thing where it was kind of like, it was like, this won't work. Getting brains is illegal and stuff like that. And I guess technically it was the thing where he's like, oh, and he's putting donor cards for every shipment or something like that. So maybe that's what the thing was. That's why they specified that, where it's like he's throwing donor cards in for every single person. So maybe that's what it was to get through that legal hurdle. Like, every single person was like, sure, in this case. But it was interesting. I was like, okay, that's a cool way to do it. And he's like, he's doing it at 90% of what the last offer was, and Donnie's like, well, we'll do 80%. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But I thought that was a good idea. I thought that was really cool. And then, of course, with them doing that, where he takes the deal, but he's like, all right, well, we still need to keep the posters up because we'll have this guy as the face for all the brains coming in. And of course, it's like, all right, well, technically we're going back to the illegal rate, or the illegal way of doing things, but we'll have the face of, this guy who's very well trusted. I was like, okay, that's a cool way to do it. And then that allows for them to have the next scene with Donnie where he talks to Blaine like, yeah, it's done, man. You've seen all the posters. Like, he's the one who's doing it now. And it's an easy way for him to lie because the posters are everywhere. They're keeping him up. And that's the whole point of his job, is to be the face of the brains coming in. So it's just naturally a part of the plan. And so it's like, we're out of the brain game. Like, we're out of the brain business. And so it's Donnie Feelgood, which I thought was a great reference because it's to the Johnny Be Good, which is I know mostly from Back to the Future. So, I love the reference. But I thought it was cool. I was like, all right, I love how this is playing out. And that, once again, leads to the next great scene, which is Blaine going to someone who has the frailing syndrome brain. I really hope it's Frayling. And he offers her $500,000 to be like, all right, well, you're going to die, unfortunate, but here's $500,000. We'll sign your brain off for when you die to this person who wants a cure. Plain and simple, the dude signs off. Unsurprisingly, Blaine is like, I could kill her. He doesn't say it in that way, but it's like, I could kill her for a little bit extra cash, or we can just wait it out. I mean, that's all there is to it. Or if you're trying to rush it, but you don't have the money, I can just move on to the next guy. And so, of course, the guy's like, all right, I'll pay up, $500,000 to this woman who's able to support her family now, unfortunately, when she passes away. But that's his new business. And it's just like, and he goes straight to the lawyer, like, drop a contract, plain and simple. And so he can do that. Who knows how many people are actually like inside the walls, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to, pull some stuff off where it's like, all right, she gets $500,000. I would assume he's also getting $500,000, if not more. He's probably charging them more than just $1 million to, cure for zombies. But he's gonna, he's rolling in the dough again. Because like I said, they don't say how much he's making off of that. But if you offer her $500,000, he's at least making $500,000. So, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see how that ends up playing out. But I like that idea because I assume he's gonna figure it out, and then he's gonna be super pissed off at Don.E, Stacy Boss. Also, I kind of skipped over that. The reporter is Stacy Boss's niece. That was also a nice little twist. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So they were working together that whole time. Like, all of that was his plan. It wasn't that she was just going in for a report and found something better. It was that Stacy Boss was like, hey, take him down. And then it turns out, it was easy. It was easy to do it because he kept the freaking mask. Just like Donnie said, like, why'd you have to keep the mask? Because that's the only thing that she had on him. So definitely a fun episode. Really enjoyed the stuff that they did there. Of course, we also have, technically it was a small part of the episode, but I'm sure it'll have a huge impact naturally going forward. We have the mystery villain. We don't see him, but we see the guy who used to work for Major, setting up someone to be a part of the Coyote. So she's a zombie. She's going in, and they're basically just going to find out what in the world's going on. So we still don't really know what that one guy's plan is, if he's trying to take them out. Because, like I said, they want the picture of her. So we still don't know if the plan is to take down Liv because they don't want more zombies inside, or if they're going to try to use this woman, now that she's a mole, to convince other people that come in to be like, oh, now that you're a zombie, you can fight back and you don't have to worry. You just, wear a helmet or whatever and you're protected. So I'm not 100% sure how that's going to play out just yet because they still haven't given us a lot of info. We also find out that the woman who hates zombies, her son actually works with Major as well. So there were some little moments in here where I was like, that's a pretty cool thing to have. It's just like, that's a tiny thing, but I'm pretty sure that'll come up in a future episode because I feel like that kid being her son, somewhere down the line, that either he's going to die or she's going to die, or they might both die because they're going to have that crazy, clash moment. Like, I don't want to kill my mom, and she might just kill her son, and it's just like, holy crap, it's dramatic because she didn't give a crap. So something's going to happen. I'm like, I don't know if he's going to live. Something has to happen there because that's just a good dramatic moment. Odds are he'll be the one that died because we knew her before we knew him. So it's unfortunate, but I'm like, if she's that bad, we'll see it. And if she's not, that'll be another turning point to be like, okay, when the push comes to shove, as much as she hates zombies as a whole, she will still see that man as her son. So we'll see how that plays out, and I'm kind of excited for that to come up, down the line. But we still got this mystery dude in the background. We still have her and the little things that she does. Like, she knew about the brains only lasting for 48 hours, so she's throwing that info out there. So they're doing a lot of good stuff in the background, and then poof, here's Stacy Boss again. I wonder if he'll die in this season because he's been an interesting character as well. So he's kind of like number 2, like, right under Blaine as far as like series villains, because he's technically been in it. I want to say maybe season 3. I feel like he was in season 2. I feel like that's when he first showed up. He was at least referenced, I think, in like season 2. And then the character actually came in because everybody would always talk about him. But I don't think he may have actually showed up until like season 3 or something like that. But he's right under Blaine as far as like epic villain. So it's been a minute with him too. He's been in the show. He's left the show. He's come back. He's died. He's become a zombie. So he's had a pretty decent arc, for a villain too. So I'm excited to see what they do with him now that he's returned. But this season is going great. Also, Dale is out on maternity leave. So the next time we see her, she will most likely have the baby, which means that Clive is now acting lieutenant, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of cool. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Also, super random, had no real relevance, but Don.E freaking out because he wanted that matchmaker to set him up, I thought was so funny. And he was like, "You ate your brain," and he was just like throwing glasses on the ground, like, "Please have a vision." I thought that was super funny. So I loved that, where he was just freaking out like he wants to find love. I just thought that was really funny. But really enjoyed the episode. I thought they did a lot of good stuff. I feel like this whole final season has been really good. They've been doing just either it's like a little thing where it's like that's going to be huge later, or the episode is huge. Like typically, like the last one was kind of the big thing. Like they hit it right at the end. Like the article came out for Blaine, the article came out about the brains, and then this episode was still technically pretty big with the aftermath of that. And then just little stuff in there, like the woman's son working for Major, them putting the mole, and it was, shown as a small thing because they were small segments, but those things are going to have big impacts, going forward. So this whole final season, I think they just been kind of hitting it out of the park so far. I've been loving this final season. But of course, would love to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know how you guys think things are going to play out between Don.E and Blaine, going for the brains and stuff like that. I would love to know your theories on how that's going to play out, what you want to see from it, what you don't want to see from it. I don't want Donnie to die. But that would be a crazy scene if they actually killed Donnie and it was, Blaine that did it. But I don't want him to die. I like his character. Like, Stacy Boss can die. The reporter isn't really bad. She's working with her uncle who's bad, but she's not bad herself because technically Donnie is working with Blaine. But yeah, she's not too bad, so she's cool. Like, she can or cannot die because she's so new. I don't really care that much. Stacy Boss can die. Donnie, I don't want him dead. Like, he's basically so close to being like one of the good guys. He's not, but he's funny enough where I'm like, I just love him enough. He's funny. I don't want him dead. So I hope he doesn't, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.